Live from the 2026 NFL Combine, of course, NFL.com, NFL Network, Tom Pelissero. And Tom, question for the Cardinals, way beyond pick 3. What's going on with the quarterback situation? Do you think they'll be able to trade Kyler Murray?
It's a great question. If Kyler becomes available via release, I anticipate there being a pretty robust market to bring him in. He's a guy who's got a fully guaranteed contract, and therefore a team could bring him in at the minimum. The question then becomes, knowing that there's additional money that would vest if he's still on the roster the 5th day of the league year in mid-March, are the Cardinals really going to keep him? If the answer within the league is no, then you probably wait it out and see whether or not he actually gets released and get him for nothing. The risk that you run with that is he may choose not to sign with you. If money is not a factor, because he'd be a minimum guy anywhere, given the fact that he's already guaranteed over $30 million this year, the only way you can guarantee yourself a chance to get him would be to trade for him.
So does New York or the Jets the team that really is your last effort to potentially trade him, or could there be some suitors out there that see maybe that the only option of getting Kyler or landing Kyler is to trade for him?
The Jets have, obviously a lot of draft capital, and so certainly that would be a logical team that I would call if I were Monty Ossenfort. Again, the real question comes down to who is willing to execute a trade and take on more than about $1 million of his contract versus simply waiting for him to get released. If he becomes available, I don't think you can rule out the Vikings as a possibility for Kyler Murray. I don't think you rule out even the Dolphins. There's other teams with complicated cap situations who, if you can get a guy with his experience, his talent level for the minimum, that's a lot different than saying, hey, we're going to give up a real draft pick and pay him $10 million. It's different categories of teams. Think about this. There are a bunch of these moving parts right now between Kirk Cousins, who's going to be released on March 11th, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa. We don't know, exactly when Justin Fields could become available. That's another quarterback out there, on top of the various free agent quarterbacks and Malik Willis. These are all interconnected parts, but between Kyler, Tua, and Geno, they all have additional money that vests that first week of the league year. So there's sort of a soft deadline for a lot of these things to shake out and teams to know what their options actually are.
Real quick, let's touch on Malik Willis. Of course, the connection, Matt, to maybe Mike LaFleur. They've got Nathaniel Hackett in the building. Monty Ossenfort, their GM, was with the Tennessee Titans when they drafted Malik Willis. Is there a connection there? You're starting to see some smoke with potentially Malik maybe ending up in the desert.
Listen, Malik Willis, if you're looking for the young free agent quarterback, he's the one. There's not a second guy. So if you want to take a shot on that, Malik is your guy. The question just becomes, what's the price point on that? The two logical teams, in my mind, are the Dolphins and the Cardinals. The Dolphins, because, again, they have a GM and a head coach who are both in Green Bay, but also they need a quarterback and they need somebody with upside. He's played in the same type of system Bobby Slowick's going to run. And in Arizona, a lot of the same corollaries. You mentioned the connection to Monty Ossenfort. Obviously, the LaFleur brothers, there would be plenty of institutional knowledge. Nathaniel Hackett was around that team last season as well. And similar type of system that we've seen Malik flourish in. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about Malik Willis making more than 20, close to $30 million a year. That's rare for a guy with such a small sample size in terms of starts, but it's also rare for a guy to have the efficiency numbers he has, particularly in downfield passing, experience in a system that half the league runs, appears to be on the ascent, all the athletic tools, also a great guy that I've known since the Senior Bowl. There's a lot of reasons to believe that he is going to be really in demand, and I do think if they want to go that direction in terms of play style, Arizona does make sense.
Like a Sam Darnold light contract from last year, like 3 for $100 with Sam. Probably less money, maybe same amount of years. Justin
Fields got 2 for $40 with 30 guaranteed. And Sam Darnold was 3 for $100.5. Somewhere in between there is probably the logical spot. Again, we had a lot of track record on both those guys, on Darnold and on Justin
14
Fields.
Wins from
with
Darnold.
Malik Willis, you're talking about a handful of fill-in starts, but games where he played really well. And again, the downfield passing stuff is real. The scrambles and the way he creates with his legs, that stuff is real. I mean, I've just been a Malik Willis fan as a guy since meeting him in Mobile, years ago. It's been cool to see him, kind of putting it together and learning in the NFL. Matt LaFleur did a heck of a job, coaching him up and getting him in a spot where he could be in this position. And it would be, fairly poetic if his brother ends up getting the fruits of that labor.
Unbelievable stuff. The Insiders, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. Thanks for the tremendous insight, man.
You got it.